The Works Progress Administration, also known as the WPA, was founded in 1935 and was the largest and one of the most ambitious among the American New Deal agencies, which was a series of programs, public work projects, financial reforms and regulations enacted in the United States throughout 1933 to 1935 in response to the Great Depression. The WPA employed millions of people, mostly unskilled men, to carry out public work projects, including the construction of public buildings and roads. In a much smaller project, Federal Project Number 1, the WPA employed musicians, artists, writers, actors and directors in large arts, drama, media, and literacy projects. Headed by Harry Hopkins, the WPA provided jobs and income to the unemployed during the Great Depression in the United States, which began in August 1929, when the United States economy first went into an economic recession. The WPA was attempting to aid those who were struggling during the Great Depression. At its peak in 1938, it provided paid jobs for 3 million unemployed men and women, which proved a great success for the WPA and the Federal Relief Administration. However, the WPA lasted only until it was liquidated on June 30th, 1943, which was a result of low unemployment due to the worker shortage of World War II. The WPA had provided millions of Americans with jobs for 8 years. However, once worker shortages occurred, there was not enough unemployment to sustain the functions of the WPA. The Federal Art Project, which ran from 1935 till 1943, was a New Deal program to fund the visual arts in the United States. Under National Director Holger Cahill, it was one of 5 Federal Project Number 1 projects sponsored by the Works Progress Administration, and the largest of the New Deal art projects. It was created not as a cultural activity, but as a relief measure to employ artists and artisans to create murals, easel paintings, sculpture, graphic art, posters, photography, and arts and crafts. Bathers by John E. Costigan. Bathers is a scene full of relaxation. Costigan looked long and thoughtfully at the commonplace events surrounding him on his own farm in Orangeburg. Through this, he was able to draw the essence of everyday American life on a residential farm. Many prints depict violent movements and events in crisis. Costigan, however, depicted the quality of everyday American life. Star Burlesque by Reginald Marsh. When asked what artistic problem Marsh was trying to solve in this piece, he said, "Traditional form, independent of what current can't, tries to make us think what it is." This shows that Marsh was trying to defy the current norms of society. This print shows that even through the Great Depression, there was entertainment to be found in American life. Pastoral Puerto Rico by Erwin D. Hoffman. Although born in Boston in 1901, Hoffman's works were based mainly in Latin America. This print is a tribute to the vigor of native talent he witnessed, particularly in pastoral Puerto Rico. This shows the hard work of people other than those in the United States during this time period. Museum Guard by Mabel Dwight. Dwight was born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1876. This work of hers was inspired through a conversation she had with guards at the Metropolitan Museum. The guards said that they would get so tired from long hours of standing, which seemed to have a paralyzing effect on them, which they often cracked under. Subway Stairs by John Sloan. Sloan graduated from the School of the American Newspaper, where he learned that there were many sides to city life, and cartoons were an effective way to express power of press. This scene shows how fast-paced and crowded life was in the city, and their appearance shows that they are upper-class citizens. The Jungle by Reginald Marsh. This piece shows the mundane yet real New York that is rarely seen. These men are clinging to life in barely acceptable living conditions. It is crowded and dirty, with the factories in the background, and this was the reality of life for many people of this time. Give Us This Day by John de Martelli. Martelli does an excellent job depicting life in Missouri during the Great Depression. This scene shows how people in the countryside lived. The house is minimalistically bare, and the clothing and faces of the women show how solemn and bleak life was. Central Park by Harry Wicke. Wicke was a soldier in World War I, and this picture shows a snapshot of Central Park from his perspective. This is not a real location, but simply his idea and truth of what life looked like at this time, with the factories and city life looming in the background. The Jealous Lover of Lone Green Valley by Thomas Hart Benton. Benton was born April 15, 1889, in Neosbo, Missouri. This painting features a man and a woman traveling through the woods of Lone Green Valley. The man is consumed by jealousy and stabs his love. The point is, the trio sitting at the table seems to be oblivious to what is happening around them. This could be a symbol of what was happening to a lot of people during the Great Depression. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony by Adolf Den. Den was born in 1895 in Waterville, Minnesota. After he graduated, he was drafted to go to the military. He refused and was sentenced to jail. Once free, he went to Paris and joined a group of artists, which inspired him to draw pictures that were magazine-worthy. This being one of his most savage satires. It shows that the audience is no longer interested in the symphony. Duck Hunter by Arnold Blanche. Blanche was born in Manorville, Minnesota on June 4, 1896. He studied at the Art Students League with Kenneth Miller. What inspired him to draw this painting was the love he has for the sport of duck hunting. The story behind the picture is that the ducks are going on with life while he is possibly asleep or dazed. Tenement by George Biddle. Inspired by the passion as well as political and social awareness of the Mexican muralists, Biddle decided to paint the social, economic, and political issues facing America. In the 1930s, he became a strong advocate for government funding to art endeavors. His correspondence with newly elected President Franklin D. Roosevelt contributed to the establishment of the Federal Art Project. As you can see, all of these prints put together by the Works Progress Administration depicted life during the Great Depression using different art mediums and influences.